I still remember the look on their faces that day, the way their eyes darted away, trying to hide the disbelief and judgment that burned so deeply into their expressions. They had called me foolish, a dreamer with no sense of reality. They had whispered behind my back, criticizing my every step, telling me I was embarrassing the family with my ridiculous aspirations. When I first shared my dream, that I wanted to become a professional artist, to paint for a living, they scoffed. My father said I was wasting my life, that I'd end up broke and unimportant. My mother looked at me like I'd lost my mind, warning me I'd only damage my reputation. My siblings mocked me behind closed doors, dismissing my passion as childish and naive. They told me I was chasing a fantasy, that I'd never make it, that I should just settle down and accept a respectable future. I was crushed. For a long time, I let their words sink in, questioning myself, wondering if I truly was foolish. But deep inside, something refused to die. That spark of creativity, that relentless desire to create, despite their ridicule, became my fuel. I packed my bags, left the suffocating cage of my family's criticism, and moved to a city where nobody knew my name or my shame. The beginning was brutal. I slept on couches, worked 2 jobs just to afford art supplies, and submitted my work to every gallery that would look at me. Rejection after rejection, failure after failure, they all piled up, tempting me to give in, to accept that I was never meant for greatness. But I clung to my dream. Every brushstroke was an act of rebellion, a declaration that I was more than their narrow-minded judgments. Years passed. I grew stronger. My art improved. I finally caught the eye of a prominent gallery, and my pieces were displayed in exhibitions. Critics called my work raw, powerful, authentic. My name started to appear in conversations about emerging talents. I was winning awards, gaining recognition, and earning a reputation I had once only dared to imagine. Yet, no matter how far I had come, I knew the day would come when I would have to face them. The family who had doubted me, who had dismissed my dreams as childish fantasies. I wondered if they would recognize the woman I had become, or if they would still see the girl they mocked and rejected so many years ago. And then, finally, the moment arrived. I was returning home for the first time in years. An invitation to my hometown, the place where I had once been humiliated and dismissed, had arrived unexpectedly. I hesitated at first, unsure if I was ready to face those familiar faces, to show them the person I had become. But I knew I couldn't hide forever. The drive back was a flood of memories, of my childhood, of their words, of the nights I cried into my pillow, wondering if I had been foolish. I pictured their faces, smug, skeptical, dismissive, and wondered what they would say now. When I reached the house, everything looked the same, yet different. The porch was weathered, the garden overgrown in places, but I felt a strange sense of homecoming. Stepping inside, I was greeted with awkward silence and tentative smiles. My family was gathered in the living room, eyes fixed on me like I was a stranger. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of years of struggle and triumph. I was no longer the girl they had mocked and rejected. I was a woman who had fought her way out of darkness, who had turned her pain into power. "Mom, Dad," I said softly but firmly, "I've come to show you something." I reached into my bag and pulled out a large portfolio filled with my latest works, pieces that had been recognized in galleries, that had touched hearts and sparked conversations. I laid them before them, one by one, each telling a story of resilience, hope, and perseverance. The room was silent. They looked at the paintings, then at me, their faces a mixture of shock and disbelief. My father's eyes widened, and for the first time I saw humility there. My mother's hand trembling slightly as she touched one of my pieces. My siblings, who once mocked me, now stared in stunned silence. And then my father finally spoke, voice trembling. We had no idea. We thought you were just chasing a fantasy. We never saw how hard you worked, how much you've accomplished." My mother nodded, tears in her eyes. "We were wrong. We should have supported you from the start. You've proven us wrong in the most beautiful way." That moment, the powerful, quiet acknowledgement, was everything I had fought for. All the rejection, the humiliation, the loneliness, it was worth it. Because I had stood my ground, refused to give up, and now I stood victorious. I looked around at my family, at the faces once filled with doubt and ridicule, and I realized something profound. They had tried to crush my spirit, but I had used their words as fuel. Their rejection became the fire that propelled me forward. I had turned their doubt into my strength, my art, my voice. As I packed up my paintings that day, I knew I wasn't just returning as a successful artist. I was returning as a woman who had reclaimed her power, who had defied every expectation and proven that dreams are worth fighting for, no matter how ridiculous they seem. And in that quiet moment of victory, I understood something even deeper. The greatest triumph isn't just in the accolades or recognition, but in the courage it takes to believe in yourself when no one else will. I left that house not just as someone who had made it, but as a woman who had conquered her past, rewritten her story, and shown everyone that even the most ridiculous dreams can become reality. And no matter what they said, I knew I had finally arrived.